We're going to go ahead. We've so much, and Magda's story is so amazing that I don't want to waste any time on housekeeping today. I see more people piling in here. Just come on, just keep coming. The chat is open. Fire up that chat. You know we don't stand on ceremony here. And just interrupt us at any point that you have a question. You have anything. Somebody has their hand raised, so I don't know why somebody has their hand raised. Hopefully they're saying hi. But just chime on into that chat and we will respond to it real time as much as we possibly can. So today we are talking about resilience and results. And Magda's story is truly building success against all odds. So we all could use a little shot in the arm right now going into the end of the year. So I think our timing on this is just absolutely perfect, Magda. And I'm so thrilled to have you here. So, quick intro for anyone who doesn't know me. My name is Kimberly Mackey. My company is New Home Solutions, and I am out of Tampa, Florida. I work with builders and developers all over the country. And I like to say that I'm who you call when you want sales to be the engine that drives the train rather than running it off the tracks. So while I do training, primarily I'm a immersion management consultant. I go in and I make sure that all of your systems and your KPIs and everything that you are doing actually supports persistent, consistent, and profitable sales. So without sales, we know that, you got nothing. So, but too many sales sporadically, not happening on a consistent basis, all of that can be the death of a company because cash flow is everything with our builders. So that's what I do. If I can help you, I work with builders of all sizes. So don't think, oh, you're too small or too big. Again, I work with everybody from smaller custom builders all the way up to the publicly traded builders. So give me a shout. Let me know how I can help you. And I'm going to turn it over. Magda, go ahead. Tell us look at this list of accomplishments, people. I had to include, this is just the tip of the iceberg and what she includes in her signature line, but I had to put this stuff in there. Magda, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to take the slides down and we'll get into more of your story. But just tell us a little bit about who you are, Brookline, what you're doing right now.
Yes, thank you so much, Kimberly, for having me here, and thank you everybody that is attending this webinar. Well, my name is Magda Esola. I'm based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have been in the real estate industry for almost 22 years. I started my real estate career in general brokerage. That was the foundation. I truly believe to my success. And 18 years for different builders from national to regional to now a family-owned builder, Brookline Homes. I was on the selling floor for almost 19 years, and I have been in the role of Vice President of Sales for Brookline Homes for the past 18 months.
So how are you liking the transition? It's I know my career on the floor was short and my career in management was long, so it was kind of the opposite of yours. But how are you liking the difference in being in leadership?
At the beginning, like last year, was a little bit challenging because it was very, very different coming from being a high production agent into leading people, because as I was the high production agent, everybody was the same way. And it was a hard pill to learn that no, everybody's at different level, and I need to adjust to them and let them grow at their own different pace. So that was then, but now the one reason, Kim, that I became or came into management was to be able to pour into others. I have been the number one agent in selling, in production, and units. You can see my main awards in behind me, 7 of them. I think the most given in Southeast, always on production. And I wasn't, obviously I was loving it. I love my customers. I love what I was doing, but then I achieved there was to be achieved. And I said, there should be more than this. And I discovered that was to pour into people and let them be the superstars, because you shine, you have your time, and then it's somebody else's time. So that time for me arrived, and I am very, very grateful that I'm able to offer opportunities like the opportunities that were given to me to other people. That's really fulfilling.
So it really is. It's so exciting when you can see that light bulb go off and this business does change lives. It really does. And that's why we encourage our kids to follow in our footsteps, right? Because we
That's
know
right.
that. So super exciting. Let's just start by talking about your story because for anybody who hasn't heard Magda's story, and even if you have, it's worth hearing again. The first time I heard her story, I literally was sitting in the room with tears in my eyes because it just so inspired me. And so I'm so grateful that you came on to talk about this because I think now in this time where there's so much divisiveness and there's just, oh, the market, oh, the this, oh, right? There's all this stuff. And really, we can shut all of that out when we have a purpose, when we have a goal. So
Yes.
talk us through that. Tell us about your story, where you came from to get you to where you are right now.
Okay, thank you. I have a long story, so I'll try to I'll give you the cliff notes of my story in the hopes that you get touched, move, and inspire as well as Kim was. I was born and raised in Nicaragua, and I was 18 years old when my mother decided to come to the United States. And at that time, unfortunately, we didn't get a visa. So the main reason why my mom wanted to leave Nicaragua uh, was because of safety of my brothers. The country was in turmoil, in political turmoil. So they will take kids, boys as young as 14 years old, and enroll them in the military and give them a gun. And my mom said, my children are not going to die. So the first truly reason was safety and economic as well. We came to the United States in the pursuit of the American dream. I am the embodiment. I am the living American dream. So we left Nicaragua at 14, when I was 14, to Honduras. And I lived there for 4 years. I finished my high school there. And at 18, we came to Mexico first, and we crossed the Rio Grande, my five siblings, myself, and I, and my mom. There is a long story how that happened. But I want to highlight that in the middle of the night, as we are going to be crossing the river, the people that were helping cross, they told us to get undressed and get um, naked, basically, because when you cross the river and you come to the United States and you're wet, that's where the word wetback come from. They know, they identify you that you just crossed the river. And here we are, kids, as we are close to the river, helicopters are coming. You see guns is ICE, is the immigration services. And my older brother got really, really scared. And my mom, this stay with me, guys. I have to share this because I think this part of the story have made me who I am. And as we are crossing the river, my brother is having a panic attack. And my mother grabbed him from the shoulder and she shakes him. And we are all witnessing this. My mother was 37 years old and said, Dennis is his name. There is no time to be afraid. We are home. To this day, that sentence, there is no time to be afraid, stay in me for
Wow.
anything and everything I do. Because as I started my real estate career, I was afraid of making phone calls at the beginning. I was afraid of speaking to people before. I never spoke to somebody before I got my license, like in business setting. But I remember that sentence. There is no time to be afraid. So when you go and take the risk and you do it, and anyway, so we end up crossing. The rest is history. Came to New Jersey, started my first job a week later for $2 an hour. $2 an hour I was making. And in my best year, I think it was 22 or 23, my best real estate career, it was about $950 an hour that I made. But it was because of all the people, obviously the hard work, but all the people that gave me the opportunity that I say yes, the opportunity and helping people from my heart. And like I was discussing or having a conversation with Kim before, when you don't have that commission breath, and you really are there to help people and guide them through the process and take every opportunity that is given to you, and you're not afraid because you are where you are because you belong there and you know that you belong there, then magical happen. You just have to do it. And there is a big difference between sayers and doers. I do practice the every single night before going to bed. Did I do what I said I was going to do? It's not because on top of my list for the next day. I get up in the morning at 4:30 in the morning and I go to bed at 9. So it's like those daily things that you do with your time, because time is life. Are we being accountable for your time, for our time, for our life? Are we living our lives with intention? And that's something that I learned through all this process, coming from Nicaragua, coming from poverty, from having nothing economically. I like to say financially, because I was rich in hope. I was rich with a loving mother. She always taught me that I was enough since I was 5 years old. So I had the unfair advantage of growing up. Yes, I grew up poor financially, but very rich with beliefs and things about me that my mother instilled when I was a child. And that helped me become the woman that I am today. And through that, I'm helping others, especially little girls. I like to go to high schools or middle schools and speak to girls about self-worth and self-love and boundaries. And I think when we do that, we can change the world. I was just sharing with you, Gabe, that my personal goal is to touch 1 million lives and bring hope back. Because I think we're here to make the world better and leave a dent in the universe.
So, and you do that every day. She always posts something inspirational. I look for your posts on social media because it's like a daily dose of vitamin C, right? I mean, it's just some sunshine and positivity that comes into the world. If you would tell us, we talked about how important what we do in new home sales and real estate is, and you also that building that generational wealth and how what we do impacts people. And I know, every time we talk about this and we talk about it being the American dream, people just go, oh yeah, oh yeah. And no, I mean, this really happened to you with your family when you bought your first home. Talk about that. Let's share that story too.
Of course. So we came in 1988, long time ago. Probably some of our viewers were born after that, but and I just revealed my age.
Right. Oh,
um,
but we were babies. We were babies when that happened.
and 5 years later, mother and my 5 siblings and myself purchased the first home against all the naysayers. 1993, everybody was like, why are you buying that house? It's a fixer-upper. You're insane. And these are people that never own a home. So never listen to those that will give you advice that they don't have what you are in pursuit of. Um, anyway, we end up buying this home in Hackensack, New Jersey, for $160,000. And it was my 6 siblings. I'm sorry, 5 siblings, myself, 6 of us, and my mother. 6 of us have saved for 5 years $30,000 because we were making between $2 and $5 an hour. And we were able to save $30,000 for a 5-year savings for the down payment. At the time, the interest rate was about 8.25% or 8.5% FHA variable rate. And we didn't care about this rate. We wanted to be in a home. We ended up buying this home, and Kim, 5 years later, we ended up selling that home for $500,000. My mother gave us, each one of us, between $40,000 and $50,000, and these kids, all of us, purchased a home. And to this day, I own real estate free and clear. But it started with that one home. Is having the faith is the best long-term investment that you can ever possibly do. I truly, strongly believe it's my story. It's the story of many people that I have helped invest. And you hear these stories over and over and over. When people are renting, they 24,000. If they're $2,000 per month, it's $24,000 in a year. That's the down payment of a home.
Yeah.
Why not? If
And they're just throwing it away.
they're just throwing it away. So this real estate to me is the safest, and it's only Magda's opinion, the safest in best investment, long-term investment there is. Because yes, the market will go up and the market will come down. And when it comes down, if you don't have to sell, you'll be fine. You will be fine,
Exactly.
you
Yes.
know? So I always tell that testimony, my testimony to my home buyers, because sometimes they don't qualify by themselves. And I said, you know what? Maybe you can qualify with your sibling. And I told them, I said, my closing was the longest. Imagine people's signature on a closing.
Yeah,
7 people.
that took a while.
It did
Well,
take a
not
while.
and the qualification process had to be, just a lot to go
It
through.
was. It was really a lot. So, but I just love. I am now with Brooklyn Home. First, I cater to the first time home buyers. I always think of me that first time home buyer. Absolutely love holding hand because it's a different type of process. They're nervous. You got to sell them, not only help them with the home, but also sell them confidence, sell them calmness, sell them it's going to be okay. You're making the right decision if they're truly making the right decision. Because more than anything, you have to have integrity.
Yes. And the thing is, people come to us, we talked about this before, but people come to us and they want to know, can you help us with our problem? And
Yes.
if we can, I feel like that we owe it to them to see it through and to help them to overcome these obstacles and barriers that get in their way. If you just think these things through. So, with our kids, one of the first sale in the community, my son had the opportunity to help a
Yeah.
couple that had been looking for 5 years for a home. I believe it was 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and they'd kind of given up, but they kept dreaming. They kept going out into the communities, and they had a child and another one on the way, and they just really wanted this for their family. And he was able to show them how, with the current incentives, because they're like, we can't afford it, we can't afford it. And he said, let's just sit down, let's figure it out. Let's work with our lenders. Let's find out what programs work for you. And then and no one had done that. Everybody just dismissed them because they didn't have the confidence to go, yeah, let's sit down and figure this out. He sat down and figured it out with them, and it was the very first sale in that community. So I was
That's
so
incredible.
proud that he helped that
Yeah.
family. And they took the leap to be the first, because the first in a neighborhood is a big deal, right? So
It's,
it's incredible how this does change lives. Let's talk a little bit with the big list of all of the alphabet soup that's after your name and all of the accreditations and credentials that you have. You have stayed involved with the general realtors. And I
yes.
know a lot of people in new home sales have not gotten involved with their realtor organizations. Talk to me about that. Why do you feel like that's important, and how did that benefit your career?
Oh my goodness. So I am involved with my realtor association. I am actually the president-elect for my local association, um, first Latina that will occupy that has occupied the president-elect position. Yeah, very proud. And why? I have been involved since day one. Once again, I started in general brokerage with a real estate company. And when I moved from New Jersey to North Carolina, in North Carolina, I went into the new home sales world. The reason I have been involved is to give to the organization that has given me my financial freedom. I believe, and you get a lot of benefits from being in leadership. You get a lot of benefits of being seen, a lot of respect from the real estate industry. For me, my realtors, I was sharing with you before came that 35% of my business was through repeat realtor business. And this is the relationship that I have with them. So you get education through the real estate association, you get the networking opportunity, and you get to pour onto others. Because it's not about give me, give me, give me. What can I get from Kim? It's also how can I get those emotional paychecks? I love pouring into people because the return, like I call them emotional paychecks, you cannot buy that with money. The fulfillment that you get as a human being, that the world is better because of your presence or your advice or giving them somebody an opportunity, it is, I just cannot put it into words. I love giving, and I don't like to say the word back, because if you say giving back, it's like an obligation. I like just giving, just for
Giving.
the pleasure
Yeah.
of give, just give. And it makes me joyful. That's why probably I have this permanent smile. It's a gift. It truly is. And to be able to reciprocate, because you do receive a lot. Like I said, the networking opportunities, the highlight and these spotlights that they put you on, as well as you as a human being pouring into others your knowledge, your message. Sometimes people just want to be heard or being there for somebody. And you go to those association meetings or you go to the training when that meeting and new people. My best friends have come out of networking events or conventions that I am in
You build
with.
a family. You do.
Yeah, you really do. And when you know that we are all in this together, I have always thought the main reason that I got more involved in my new home sales world into the real estate is to build a bridge, because there is some separation, and it shouldn't be. We are in the same business with the same purpose, that is to
Yep.
get our home buyers into homes. And when we see that, that is not, yes, of course, I work for the builder and my job duties and responsibility are to the builder, but also I have to treat with respect and try to do the best I can for my buyer. And I know it's a fine line, but you have to create that balance and create that harmony between agent, buyer, and the builder, and create that win-win-win situation. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I spent last week training. I did my 61st session of training realtors how to work with builders. And that's a big part of it. You got to create the win-win-win. It's about education. And we are not in the transaction business. We're in the relationship business. And, people have heard me say it time and time again. You don't need to have relationships with thousands and thousands of people. If you have 25 realtors who are going to do at least 2 transactions with you a year, that's 50 sales.
yes,
So it doesn't matter what the market is doing. It doesn't matter whether they put your signs up in your community, right? If you have those relationships, these are people that you are going to do that repeat business over
100%.
and over and over again. And you
Yes,
are going to be resilient in any market if you do that.
yes. You have to lead with an offer always. Because when I started, I didn't have any relationship, but I did have the knowledge of new home sales. So I used to make the phone calls to agents. Brand new Magda, didn't know an agent, but I needed to build relationships. How can I be of service to you? Is there anything in the world I can do for you? To the agent, can I educate you on my product, on new home sales, on how the building industry works? What can I do for you? Always lead with an offer. But honestly, from your heart, Kim, not that, okay, I'm gonna break and then ask him. No, no, no. Just
No,
give just for the fact of giving. Eventually, when you're planting all those seeds, the harvest will come. Incredible. It happens very quickly because they start noticing you. You go to the schools, you visit the schools, and same thing. This community just open up. My name is Mag. I used to do that with the elementary, middle, and high school. I used to introduce myself to the PTA, to the principal of the school. What can I do as a builder? I know you are here in the community. What can I do? And sometimes they will say, we need school supply. Oh, I'll do a school supply drive. Why not?
yeah,
And collaborate. We need to be involved with the community. It's not only about building and selling homes and margins. This is about being involved. Once again, it narrows down to relationships or the business of people and making them better, making the world better. When you come from that mindset, people will notice you and they see your authenticity and they say, you know what, this is not only for the business. Obviously, we're doing things to make money at the end of the day, but the money follows when you do good things, good deeds. You don't have to worry about the money. I tell that to my people all
it
the
will
time.
happen. Absolutely.
It will happen. When you have to come from that mindset of abundance. When the birds get up in the morning, they're not worried. I'm gonna find a worm today. They're not. You got to trust the process, but you got to do certain things. For us new home sales
Yeah. If the
consultants,
bird just stays in the nest, nothing is going to happen. The bird has to go look for the worm, right?
that's
Yes.
exactly
Yeah.
right. That's exactly
Yes,
right.
but life is not pie. So, that's the thing. Just because Magda does something and she's successful at it doesn't mean that there's less opportunity for you. The beautiful thing is this pie just keeps multiplying. And the
Yes,
more of us pour that abundance into it, the bigger the pie gets for everybody. It's
that's
amazing
right.
how it works.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I love that you pour into people and truly, people go to these networking events. I'm so involved, as you know, in the National Association of Home Builders and my local and state. And, I don't go saying, what am I going to get today? It is how can I contribute? How can I be a positive part of this?
Yes.
And sometimes it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes things happen and you go, why am I doing this? And then you have to remember, oh yeah, because I can control me and only
Mhm.
me, and I make a positive difference. I can do this. So what can you do? That's so important.
That is so true, Kim. I am working on my legacy. Once I turned 50, I knew that I had less year to live that I have lived already. And I started thinking, what is my legacy? What do I want to leave in people? How do I want people to feel when they leave the room that when they were with me? So I start asking all those questions. And yes, we want to make a change in the world. It's not about me. There are greater and bigger things than Magda Esola. And I know that I'm here for a purpose. I know I am a child, and I am going to use my God given abilities to help the world to become better. And I do it through real estate. And I'm very, very, very grateful that I fell into this career that like I was sharing, that I get to do. I don't have to do.
You don't have
I
to do it. You
love
get to
what I
do
do.
it. Yes.
I get to do what I love to do. And it's honestly a blessing. 83% is my understanding, between 83% to 85% of people get up every single morning to a job they hate. And that's pretty sad.
It is
I,
sad. Yeah.
that's pretty sad.
And the thing is, some of those people, the reason they hate it it's not that the job is bad or anything is wrong with it. It's that they have that attitude of I have to do this
Yes,
rather than I get to do this. Even if it's not the job that totally fulfills you for life, it can be a means to an end to get to go do other things that do fulfill you,
absolutely.
and to appreciate that it gives you that opportunity and do I always feel like I have to leave things better than I found them.
Yes. And like
So
you mentioned my favorite word, appreciation. When you see things with gratitude, opportunities, even challenges, when I see challenges, as opportunities, and what is this trying to teach me? You always have to, and the emotions, right? We're emotional human beings. Why am
yes.
I feeling this way? You start asking questions, as we are very good asking questions to others as we're selling homes. We have to ask questions to ourselves too. And you not necessarily, I am lucky to love my job, but you don't have to love your job. You can fall in love though with certain aspects of your job. And
Yes.
when you do that, I think you flourish. You are a better producer, you are a better colleague, you contribute more, and it's just that state of being when you are joyful and happy. It's a choice. I put this blue blazer for our conversation today. It was my choice. We can choose our attitudes too. I choose today to be extremely happy and pour into people and bring only happiness to the world. And nothing is gonna get in your way. It's a mindset. And
And it's what you look for. When you look, whatever you seek, you will find. I say that all the time. Whatever you seek, if you seek that, you're going to find those opportunities to do more of that. You recently, in fact, like in the last 10 days or so, just got back from Africa with an opportunity to pour into another country. So, so what did you learn from that experience? What did those children that you've got the opportunity to work with teach you?
question, and thank you so much for bringing that. I was in Senegal, Senegal, Africa, for 2 weeks, and we stay in a host home, sleeping on the floor, 100-degree weather with
Wow.
100% humidity. So it was pretty rough on us, 20 Americans.
I would have had a really bad hair day for
Yeah,
sure.
my hair was like this.
Yes. The
And
hats would have been a requirement for me.
definitely, I was with hats all the time. What, and I've been thinking, somebody asked me, yeah, I just came back from NAR convention, and I'm truly between meetings right now. I have mandatory meeting this morning, and I have my meeting with you, Kim, and after this, I'm running the doctors. It's a crazy day. But somebody asked me at the NAR convention, what was the biggest takeaway? And just like you said, for me was gratefulness true unconditional love, simplicity, and the fact that we don't need anything in terms of things. We don't need any things to be happy. My child, remind me of my child, my Rebecca, she's 23 years old today, but my middle child, at this time, when she made this comment, she was only 12 years old. I gave her a computer. It's probably like a $4,000 computer. I'm excited to be able to afford this for her.
Right?
And it's Christmas. And I said, honey, do you love it? And then she said, no, mom, I don't love it. You taught me to love things that can love you back. This thing cannot love me back.
Mm.
12
Out
years
of the
old.
mouths of babes.
12 years old. With that being said, the simplicity that the African Senegalese live, they cook, the community, the togetherness, they understand very well that we're one mind. We're one world. And when you come from that, once again, abundance, what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours, your pain is my pain, your joy is my joy. When you come from that mindset, you see the world a different way. These people cook in one pot and they give each other spoon and you eat all together for that one pot on the floor. No furniture, no mirrors. They don't use makeup. The women are absolutely gorgeous. They haven't been pollution by all this media that you have to be a certain way or weigh a certain way or have this hair color or have no. They show up to the world just the way they are. And that's I said, oh my God, that's it I got very in tune with them. That's because that's how I am. And I was with my people. I said, that's how I am. That's how I think. But I also came from that humble beginning. You know, I came, like I was sharing with you, 5 years old, I would walk 3 blocks away to go to a well and get our water because we didn't have running water. I didn't have running water until I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So I didn't have running, we didn't have power. Every other day, we have no power. We have candles. I study with candles to go to school. I have to read stuff. And, but that I'm so grateful for those moments because you get to appreciate, you don't appreciate the moon without the sun. You don't appreciate the winter without the summer. So you get to appreciate things and that sense of gratefulness. So I took gratefulness. These people are just happy to be happy. And I actually interviewed them at the end. I asked them, can I ask you questions? And I asked them about what makes them happy. If there anything that they don't have in terms of things that will make them happy. I said, we come from the United States where there's so much abundance and materialism. And they said, no, we have what we need, which is family and health. And I was like,
It's all about that perspective, where we have so much, but yet so little happiness.
yeah, it's so unfortunate. But I think when you start appreciating the little things, bigger things become, how in the world, somebody like me, still with a thick accent, I didn't have the language, I didn't know the culture, I didn't have friends. And I was able to succeed in this country because to me, the real estate business is an equal opportunity. Whatever you pour in, you get out.
It's true.
Simple. If you work very, doesn't matter how you look, your accent doesn't matter. You work ethics, you do what you're supposed to do, and a little more. I always say, my Melanie, we advise, I'm sure you advise, Carson, we advise our children, just do that a little more than what you're supposed to do, more than what you're paid for, because that little extra, that's when you become extraordinary.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes. And it's amazing. And it does come back, but people want to do it like a quid pro quo, right? They're like, well, I did this and nothing happened. And no, it's like filling a pipe. You just keep stuffing in and you know that ultimately it's going to come out the other side. You just don't know when or how, but you just keep stuffing in and you have that faith and you have that grace with yourself as you're doing it because everybody started somewhere.
that's right.
You started somewhere way different than probably everybody listening to this stuff. Everybody started somewhere, but
That's
you
right.
started. and you took those steps and you took giant, enormous steps to get here to where you are.
Through people though, because I want to also recognize, I'm not that egocentric thinking, oh, look what I did. No, yes, I did my part, but I had a lot of mentors. Lonnie Horton, I want to mention him. That man, he was my vice president of sales at Standard Pacific Homes. To me, the greatest. I have great Lynn Goodman. I mean, I have great people that have helped me. You took him through listening to your teachings. I am the result of every single person that I have encountered and every single person that have given me an opportunity. I am extremely grateful. I think having the heart of gratitude takes you uh, places. It takes you places because not only is I thank you, but also what can I do to help others? And that's where I was sharing with you that Tuesday with Magda, I have this mentoring program for free that I like to help realtors to become better or guide them, but they have to be less than a year. It's totally free. I consult a couple of months with them and just to write a roadmap. And I share with you, if you don't mind me sharing about Michelle, this lady that uh, couldn't make a phone call. Like, she just came from corporate America, brand new agent, 6 months, didn't sell anything. And I said, you need to make the phone calls. As my grandmother used to say, people don't eat people. You cannot be afraid. Long story. Basically, the woman within a year, she was an $80 million producer. And she called me. She said, if you haven't poured into me, if you haven't consult with me, you just need sometimes somebody to believe in you.
Yeah.
And somebody
Just
to believe in
that little nudge is sometimes, and you never know that when sometimes you get the opportunity to be that. And that's why I do
you.
these shows. I don't get paid to do this, and
It's
it's a
incredible.
lot of work. It's a lot of work
It
to
is.
pull it all together. But then when, those of you who are listening, let me know that something you heard something, you were inspired by something, you tried something different. That's the payment for doing
That's,
this.
that's right. And I appreciate you for doing it because I have watched all your recording messages.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. But I think that's also part of this abundance and this willingness to succeed is that no matter you are successful, you have done this, you've been that top producer for so many years, and yet you're still trying to learn something new. You're
Yeah,
still trying to put good stuff in because you know that you have to keep putting the good stuff in to get the good stuff out.
that's right. Yeah, the learning never stops. Learning to me, I know that all I know is I don't know everything. And I learning there's people that know more than me and I respect them and I am humble to go and tell you like I admire you. Unfortunately sometimes people let the ego get the best out of them. And we're not here for that. We're here to become better, become a better version of yourself every single day. And that, like I'm
Yeah,
saying, at night I review my day. Did I become a little better today than I was yesterday? And what's the plan for tomorrow? And when you are that way, and life hits you because life will hit you,
it
then
does.
it's easy. Because when you're hard on you, it becomes easy. It's to me like I have this serenity. I said, "Oh my God, I'm going through a lot of challenges right now, but I know I'm gonna be okay because nothing is given to you that you cannot handle." You have the resources, the intelligence, the capability, and we sometimes, like again, to believe in yourself. You need to have that confidence because now the way the market is, I tell my salespeople, you're not only selling homes or getting people into homes, you're selling confidence, you're selling peace of mind, you're selling shelter, you're selling generational wealth. You got to believe, you got to think of all that stuff that you're selling, and you got to do that through questioning and having the right questions coming from your heart. Truly, how can I help this person that is in front of me? The most important person right now, and truly listening with intention and speaking with purpose. And when you do that, people feel that authenticity. This woman really cares because we live in such a rapid world, instant, automatic. When how are you? I'm fine. Are you really fine? That's an automatic response. Or do we really ask, how are you? The intention that just to start a conversation, or are you really intentional needing to know how is that person? And when you do it once again, when you get to know people, we, as you said it, and we, the best trainers in the world, as you said, we are in the people's business. When you put people number one, and you know people matter, and without people, we're nothing. Without employees, when the company doesn't exist. Without customers, the company doesn't exist. So when you know for sure that we're doing this to make the world better, and we're helping people, and through helping people, you get highly compensated, and you get a nice living, and you're able to pour into others like I did in Africa. In 26, I will be building a school in Nicaragua. More to come on that on social media. But I got so inspired. I will be the track leader, and I have already calls and Zoom schedule to be able to do that in my country. It will be even
It's
more
beautiful.
meaningful
Yeah.
to go back to help those children were me 50 years ago. I am so elated and so grateful for that opportunity.
What do you think the number one trait as a salesperson is that creates the resilience? Because I think resilience is the result of something. So what do you think that trait would be?
The number, I think there's many, but for me personally, it's adaptability. Is the interest rate went up, and being flexible, or supply, we don't have supply now. Is the build time goes from 3 months to a year, and you have this backlog. When that happened to me, Kim, I have 92 people under contract.
Wow, that's a lot
Imagine,
of backlog to manage.
yeah, imagine to make 92 phone calls, tell people, oh, you're not getting the radiant barrier, and you're not getting the garage door, or the garage door that you've requested, and you got to resell the dream and remind them why they purchased, that you didn't purchase because of a garage door. This is the reason. And so adaptability for sure, will help you with resilience, because once again, customers, we pour energy every single day. You go in full, and sometimes you might come back if you had a rough day. You work very hard. You went under contract, and now they're calling you don't qualify. I tell people you have 30 seconds for your funeral. It's okay. Get upset, 30 seconds. But then back on. We have the rights to have the emotions that we have. But you have to also remember why you're here.
Yep.
And some people stay in that negativity. So adaptability is to me number one requirement to be able to be resilient, for sure. It's
I
the
agree with
mindset.
I
Mhm.
totally agree with that. And one of the things that I think has helped me is that I have the ability to, after you have your experience, you have your loss, right? Whatever, it didn't go the way you thought it was going to, is to sit back and do a bit of a postmortem. So I figure, what is the lesson that I need to learn from this? And sometimes there's a lesson in there if I'm willing to really sit back and look at it and kind of have that out of body experience so you can be more objective. And sometimes you're just like, no, I don't see the lesson in here. This just was crap. It just didn't go the way it was supposed to go, right? So sometimes that's the case, but oftentimes there is a lesson to be learned in that. And we're so busy. We're so in such a fast-paced world that I think we don't often take the opportunity. You said you've got 30 seconds to do your funeral, and I always say, but then do a post-mortem after it's dead, right? What went wrong? So we can look at that, so we can learn from it, and then we can move forward.
That's right.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's hard to do. I think that in our fast-paced world, it gets really hard to do that.
It is. It is. But you have to remember the purpose and the goal. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Something went left or down. How, like you said, how can I learn from this? Sometimes it might be a follow up and follow through. You forgot to follow up with the bank, and things went down. So it's how can you become better? That asking that question every single day. And I'm better today than I was yesterday. It doesn't have to be by a humongous percentage. It can be 1%.
Just a
Are
little
you
step forward is still in the right direction, right?
just a little bit? I heard that saying. I don't know. One of the trainers said that when you are in the plane, 1% can take you to another city. If you are, of course, so you have to be laser focused. Exactly what I'm doing. why I'm doing it. The why is so important, because the why is the thing that will get you up when you are on the floor and said, I cannot do this anymore. And I have heard that last year, especially last year, coming into this year, there was a lot of people leaving the industry and going to regular paying jobs. And I said, you can do this. We're built for this. We unfortunately, back in 3, 4 years ago, a lot of us were taking orders, and we cannot be
We
taking
didn't
orders
have to
anymore.
sell. Yeah.
And we got to be the menu makers. We cannot be taking orders. You got to be the menu makers. You got to be servant. You got to be able to ask the right questions to lead generate. We spoke about that. 80% of your business is lead generation.
Even if
Is
you work for a builder, you still need to lead gen. It's
Yes,
a different type of lead gen. You're not going to
yes,
cold call people, but
that's
it's still lead gen.
yes,
You shared an example of a buyer who came in complaining about the interest rates. And I think a lot of people can really relate to that. And I think it's a good example of this resilience that we're talking about. Would you mind sharing that story?
absolutely. So, and actually, it was my last sale with my previous builder. Um, I think his last name was Mr. Patel. He was buying for his daughter, who is a nurse. He's a doctor, and he came in. As soon as he came in, like I shared with you, Kim, I introduced myself. Hello, welcome to the builder's name. My name is Magda. Thank you for being here. And the thing coming out of his mouth was, "What about interest rates?" And I'm like, oh my God, very direct. And I'm a pretty direct person too, thank the Lord. And so I said, so I repeated the question, what about the interest rate? I said, Mr. Patel, the interest rate hasn't changed from your hotel on your way here. It's been the same interest rate. So he smiled and he's like, yeah, but the interest rate are very high. I said, yes, compared to 2 years ago, yes. And then I start asking questions. I said, this man is down to business. I need to address the big elephant, which is the interest rate. And right now we are going through that right at this moment. It's still people
Sure.
with the challenge of the interest, because for the 2 or 3 years that were between 2.5 and 2.75 or 3.5%, people think that has been the interest rate, but it hasn't. So
Oh,
with that being said, I asked him, I said, you seem like a very successful man. To me, and this is called an assumption, you probably have owned homes before this one that you're buying for your daughter. Do you mind sharing how many homes? And he told me, yes, I have bought 3 homes before. And I said, what was the highest interest rate? And he said 16.5. And then I said, okay, so 16.5, and right now 7.25. I think that's what's the interest rate at the time. And I said, so if I have offered you 7.25 when it was 16.5, would you have thought that was a great deal? And he said, yes, of course. Make a story short, the man ended up buying the home. I think we have to stop selling interest rates. You have to start selling the investment and the shelter that the home represents, or whatever it is for them. Could be peace of mind. I had a customer that came to me and said, when I asked him, tell me, can you share why you're looking for a home today? And he said, Magda, I have a ranch, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 3 daughters, and my wife. I said, oh my God, you have 4 girls in 1 bathroom.
one bathroom. Yes. Ooh.
And I said, so I literally said, so you're buying a shower for yourself. He said, yes, I am. He was looking for peace of mind. He was tired of that banging on the door. Get out of the bathroom. I need to take a shower. So we need to stop selling interest rate, and we have to start selling what the customer is looking for. And for every customer is different, but we need to be
Yes.
able to ask the right questions. And once again, coming from your heart, what is it that they're looking for? What are they paying? Because that's what we are. We are Tylenol to their headache. We are. And we got to find what that pain is. And if we have the product, offer it. We have to have integrity as well. We have
Right.
the
And you're never gonna, I just truly believe you're not gonna manipulate someone into buying a home, nor should you ever try.
That's
But
right.
if you have the solution, definitely we need to show how our product fits that solution and how we can help them to own it.
That's right. Definitely. And so these men end up buying, I think where they are, prices went up because I own a home in that same neighborhood. I was the first one that bought the home because it was in a developing area in the city of Charlotte. And I tried for 3 months trying to sell a home. When the builder sent me, it was in framing or actually foundation, townhouses. And I said, okay, I need people to know that I truly believe in my product. I bought the first home, and that was my story. I purchased the first home because I believe in my product. And I told my story. And I still own that home that I have. That happened about 2 years, 2.5 years ago. And I have $89,000 in equity. So I knew it was a good investment.
Yep.
And I felt, it's a good investment.
So as you know, and that's the thing, we somehow got into this mindset that real estate's supposed to go up 20% every year. And obviously that is not sustainable, nor do we want it to do that. Then we get an affordability issue. There's gonna be some sort of correction. Real estate goes up around 5 to 6% every year since we've been tracking real estate. And we need to talk to people about that. I think we need to get real with it. Let's in our last couple minutes here, I want to talk about as your role as a leader, how do we interview? How do we add people to our teams that have this resilience that is required to be successful? What kinds of things can we talk to people about in our interviewing process to uncover whether we're really generating people who are going to be successful in this business? What do you think?
I think is in the asking questions and examples, like anything, any hardship that they have gone through and how they overcome it. In hardship, it can be different for different people. So we have to be very intuitive in the response and and see how people handle hard things and how they overcome it. I'm actually in the interviewing process right now. I'm hiring people. And one of my questions is tell me more about something, a challenging situation, whether it can be personal, it doesn't have to be business, personal or business that you came through and you overcome it. And I want to know their way of thinking before
Yes.
the action. And I think you discover a lot about people through questioning. So definitely, I think one of the things as a role as a leader is to ask them questions. But I do believe in the making of a amazing agent. Yes, you have to have certain gifts. Like integrity to me is number one. You have to have integrity because integrity guarantees the other things. If they tell you
Absolutely.
integrity is the number one for me, honesty, the persistent, being persistent, curiosity, curious, asking questions. Tell me why. Like be like a child. I've been told that I never lost that. It's a gift that I have, that child innocence. Like I truly get excited. When I get excited, my God, over 50, and asking the questions like a child. Why? But explain to me. And I like to say, truly, explain to me like I am 5 years old. I don't understand. Please explain. And they do. People open up and you get to
When we
know them.
set our egos aside, people will open up. So,
Yes, they
yeah,
do.
if you don't have to know everything, you just have to ask the right questions.
That's right. You do. And I look also for optimism. And one of the things that I look for me, I am very big on gratefulness. Do they feel grateful? I look for words as I am interviewing, and I'm being grateful. I am grateful that the last 3 people that I interview said, I am so grateful. Even if I don't get the job, Magda, I am grateful to be in front of you. And I
Wow.
appreciate, I said, wow, thank you. So I always also look for gratitude. Like, are they really grateful? Because that to me guarantees that they will not just take this opportunity for granted. They will take the opportunity like I did and do something with it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that gratitude just, again, you're going to find what you seek. So if you're looking for ways to be grateful for things, to find that positive, to find that silver lining, you're going to find success. Because you're
100%.
looking for solutions for people instead of just running and playing bumper cars because you run into some sort of obstacle or barrier. To me, I'm like, challenge accepted. Let's do this. I
Yes.
love it. There's nothing better to me than a good challenge. So that's one of my favorite things. So, I do believe that we need to hire for that resilience. And I do love that you asked that question. That's one of my favorite interview questions to ask because I do want to know how people overcame things in their life.
Yes.
And, there is when you have people that do cocoon inward versus just, okay, well, I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to dust myself off and I'm going to move forward. There is something to be said for that in the
Absolutely.
ability. The late great Bill Herring, who was my first mentor in new home sales, said to me, that in new home sales, you get up and you put on your Sunday best because back then we actually did get dressed to go to work. And you and you say and you go out in a world that's going to tell you no 9 times out of 10, and yet you thrive on that one. That one, it just gives you the hope to keep moving forward, right?
I love
And
it.
that's always stuck with me, right? That we're going to have that.
I always said to my people, and I learned this from a mentor, I'm sure, because again, I'm the result of all of you, that you got to look for that no. Be excited because the closer, the more no's, it's getting you closer to that yes. Be excited. Don't get all bummed. It's like, great, next, next, keep on battling,
Next,
keep
move
on
on.
going,
Yeah,
keep
just
on
keep moving
presenting,
forward.
keep on doing
You're
yes.
getting closer.
Yes,
Any
absolutely.
we are at the top of the hour, so any other parting thoughts that you would like to share with everybody, and any questions from any of you? Certainly keep that chat fire. I'm sure if you're like me, you're just so caught up in her story here. But if there are any questions you want to ask Magda, make sure that you type those in. Any thoughts, Magda, as we close out?
Yeah, I just want to leave people for them to know that all of us, every single one of the 8 billion plus people that exist in the world, are walking gifts. Each one of us. It is our obligation to unwrap the gift that we are and give it back to the world. I always said, live full, die empty. Love people and use things. And when you do that, life become magical. So I love you all. I thank you, Kim, for this opportunity. Like I said, you're getting me closer to that 1 million people that I want to touch and leave the world better, a little bit better than I found it. And I hope I did this through this call. So I thank you so
I
much.
believe that you did, and we're getting love back in the chat. And I have nothing. I can't top that. I'm just gonna say, go out and be the change that you want to see in the world to everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. I'll get the recording out as quickly as possible. And thank you, Magda, for being the light that you are in the world and for joining us today.
I appreciate you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.